spike, which is a syringe like the one that broke your hand up.
Yeah.
For vermouth. So you can put just the right amount of vermouth in your martini.
Very nice. Let's hope we get this right. I never know till I'm like halfway in. I'm like, oh, whoops, that's wrong.
Oh, hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hola.
This is our soft opening. Well, some of our soft openings. Oh, look, there we are there. All right, that's pretty.
Are we in your Facebook?
I think we are. We're on a lot of things. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch. You know, we always win on Twitch.
We win what?
Now, well, here's the thing. Now, Twitch is a gaming platform.
Really?
I'll explain the finger in a minute.
Oh.
Yeah.
You have a finger on the scale.
But yes,
I wrapped it.
Right. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
That's your finger.
You have a finger on the scale.
Oh,
I love that joke.
That is a good one.
It's a pretty good wrapping job, though, I'd say.
Yeah, that's because you did it.
Yeah.
I had to stop the flow.
You did.
The flow.
Wrap
I'm
that
a
rascal.
bleeder, not a breeder. I'm a bleeder. Anyway, yeah. So you made me forget the first part. I was telling a story, and then I said I'd tell you about my finger, and then we forgot. I forgot.
I don't even know what you were going to say.
No, I started out the show talking about us being on Twitch.
Oh, there it
we
is.
go.
Yay! And the fact is, Twitch is a gaming platform where people watch other people play games.
Why would you want to do that?
They do it all the time.
Oh my gosh, it's a
big
thing.
Who
It's
cares?
a thing.
For like-
I know, but it's a thing.
For like the last decade or so.
So you're out there watching people
You
play
watch
with
other
themselves.
people. No,
Yes.
other people play these really intense video games. Whether it's
There's
a
big
lot of-
money.
yeah,
Like
I mean,
$300,000 kinds of money.
like $1 million prize.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
On
It's-
Twitch. And
Well,
we
no,
won?
on-
What did we win?
Well,
no,
no.
that Twitch is a platform that you can watch it on, but these gaming platforms are done by the manufacturers of the video games, and they
like Electronic Arts in Maitland, Florida, right down the
Perhaps,
street.
yeah. I'm right down the
what was
street.
that? The big one.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Nintendo?
The point is, Twitch is a platform where people play their video games and broadcast it, and people watch it. So what I said is, if you think this is a game, guess what? We won. Because you don't bother watching.
This show is a lot like Frogger. Remember that one?
Did you know that 40 years ago Donkey Kong came out? 40 years ago. It was the first one where they actually had different levels of video games where you didn't just do the same thing over and over and over.
I feel really, really.
Do you feel old?
No,
Hey-
actually, I feel that's when everything started to go to hell. in a
Everything went to
handbasket.
crap.
That was it.
All right, guys, stand by. We'll be right back, and we're not going to talk of the opening. We promise. No, we promise.
I bet we have.
No, we haven't. We will
Okay.
if we keep talking. So let's not.
Live from the Connections Studio Suites, it's Connections. Connections is relationship radio.
Hey, everybody, it's
can
that
talk now?
time. Yes, you can talk now.
Okay,
We're
okay.
allowed. Can we talk now?
Can we?
Yeah.
Linda said we couldn't talk over the intro because that's when she goes, yeah, or whatever. I can't get that high up.
No, you can't.
No, I
Never
really-
try that again.
No,
Yeah.
won't. I promise I won't do that again. Hey, it's Melissa Fox, 2 X's. We got Dr. David Klein with us
1K.
tonight with 1K, and an E is in the middle with the I, not on the other way around.
There you
A
go.
lot of people spell it wrong.
Oh, that's-
And then we got Linda Nunez with the tilde over the second.
That's right,
N.
baby.
Yeah.
And the tilde goes like this instead of like that.
Respect it.
Not like that, but like this.
The power of the
A
tilde.
little like that, but not a little this.
It is powerful.
It is.
It
No,
is
actually, there ought to
powerful.
be a tilde over the N in Klein. So Klein.
Klein-ya.
Klein. I may-
I like it.
What's your name? Klein.
No. I like your email there, decline.
Decline? Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding. I have a buddy, his name is Nelson. Nelson Klein. N Klein.
N Klein.
Yeah, he was in elementary school. Decline and Klein. It all worked out just fine.
Wow. Okay, so now that we've all been introduced, I think we have, right? Fox, Klein, Nunez. Yeah,
Yep.
we're all here. Lizzie's on vacation in Maine, but she's going to come back a happy clam. So, yes, indeed. Details will come later on that one. So, COVID, we've been ahead of the curve since November 2019.
Yeah, November 2019. And so
Okay.
things are starting
Things
to come
are
to
popping.
fruition. Okay, and we don't mean oranges in this case.
Oh.
So what we're looking at here is just sort of an obvious case of governmental obfuscation. Sometimes they call it lying.
That's
Yeah,
a
we
big
don't call
word.
it lying necessarily, in spite of the fact that they're speaking many untruth. Now, before I get canceled on Facebook, which has been known to happen, we're not really talking about the inoculations, the vaccines. We're not talking about that at all. The vaccines, in my humble opinion, are good. Why? Because if you get them, you're not likely to die, which is a good thing for
Amy,
most
go
people.
ahead.
If you have a spouse you don't like, advise them not to get the inoculation. That works. However, if you like your spouse, it's a good idea to keep them around, in particular if you haven't got your life insurance paid up.
Yeah, that's always
So-
good. Do that first.
No, very few people have passed. In fact, very few people have ended up in the intensive care unit that are fully vaccinated.
True.
So that being said, fun happens in different kinds of ways. So about 6-8 months ago, so I was on national news mentioning the fact that we're going to end up having to have a third inoculation 6 months after the first inoculation.
Yeah.
So I got canceled on that one.
Yep.
Yelled at, laughed at.
Oh, no,
And
they
so
were like,
wouldn't you know? Oh, you don't know
stop.
what you're talking about,
There
Clint.
was
What do you know
yelling?
about?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, what happened was we did something at Stages of Life Medical Institute that wasn't done anywhere else. Amongst other things.
Like you paid attention to the actual
Amongst
data.
other things, we did a little thinking. Now, there are people out there that do their Google searches and think it's research. And then there are those of us
WebMD
that
is my friend.
actually do research. So having a laboratory and having my own lab basically is what it works out to. We did something very different. We started measuring the amount, not the presence of, but the amount of immunoglobulin, IgG, to COVID. So we have a year and quarters worth of data, about 10,000 data points, 3,000 patients, looking at how people react when they get COVID, how they react when they get the different inoculations, and how long the antibodies last. This is the data that the government tells you, well, they're trying to figure this out right now. Either they are bold-faced liars, because they'd have to have this data, or they're incompetent. And I'm not so sure which is worse. Which is worse? Okay, they are our leaders. They are our incompetence.
We put them there, though.
We put them there. They were voted
This
into
is
office.
our
And
fault.
then the folks that the medical leaders, those were all appointed by the people that we voted for. So I can guarantee you that there's not a single doctor in this country that voted for the Surgeon General.
No.
Not a single one voted for the Secretary of HHS. It doesn't work that way. They are appointed by the cretin in charge. That's just the way that works.
Who's the transgender in charge of the health?
Oh yes, if you the obese, ugly man, gal,
Shim?
yeah, whatever. I mean, it's unbelievable.
No disrespect to transgenders, but
No, get one that looks good. I mean, there are lots of them out there. We go downtown periodically, and
You'll see
oh
'em.
yeah, there are plenty of them.
Oh, yeah.
But this guy,
wow, girl,
whoa,
whatever.
girl, gal, doesn't even really make any difference. He doesn't whatever the gender is.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say. Some days
And I
doesn't
lived
really
in Pennsylvania for a while, and I don't know what the hell happened.
does not engender,
came
if you
from,
pardon the metaphor, doesn't
really-
engender confidence.
So again, just as an example right there, to me, I'm looking, I'm like, this is the person in charge of our health and human services.
Right. Somebody who quite obviously is not the picture of health.
You're not healthy.
So what do we want to do?
Mentally or otherwise.
Yeah, let's look at this COVID vaccine thing, because I really enjoy this. So what I found, okay, with my personally funded research, okay, it was not paid for by tax dollars or really by anything else except for my hard work. What I found was that the antibodies that you get from getting the infection are not as great in terms of numerical number as if you got the inoculation. When you get the Pfizer or the Moderna, the IgG levels far exceed that with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. That being said, the degradation, the amount of antibodies that you get degrades substantially to the point where at 90 to 130 or 140 days, it's about gone.
Wow.
So my wife got sick the first week in January. She did not have any antibodies at all until the second week of February, which is in marked contradistinction to what I was told was supposed to happen by the CDC and the FDA and everybody else. It took her 6 weeks to develop sufficient IgG, and she wasn't. She went negative on the antibodies about 2 weeks ago. So it lasted 6 months. Now, the FDA came out and said, well, it's starting to look like we're going to approve it for elderly people after 8 months. What I will tell you is that we have done now 3,000 people or thereabouts, and not one person has lasted more than 8 months. That means that one or two persons that comes in at 8 months where they have some measurable amount, it's nonsense. So what's happening is we're being led down the wrong garden path.
Uh-oh.
So what we do at Stages is we actually measure the gamma globulin, and if it's below 2, it's a scale of from 0 to 60, 65, or 70. The most we've seen anybody was 70. I had 62 after my inoculation. My wife made it all the way up to 30. Most people get in the 20s. Is that it generally wears off at about 4 to 6 months. So you get the blood test. If your IgG is 2 or less, then you get a letter from us that says that you are immunocompromised as measured by the immunoglobulin level. I have a fancy letter that goes with it.
And soon.
And a cover letter that says, please give one of the following 2-stage inoculations. Only one is necessary.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, I know what you're going to ask.
It's only one
Only
shot.
one. The reason is that it's functioning as a booster, but there's no such thing as a COVID booster. If you
Gotcha.
walk in there and say, I want the COVID booster, they're going to throw you out because that you're asking for a product that doesn't exist.
Gotcha.
On the other hand, if you ask for a re-inoculation, which is exactly what this is, just like with hepatitis B, by the way, all right, then they're willing to do it if you meet the criteria. Now, the criteria without a letter are you an organ transplant patient? Well, that's obvious.
You know,
okay?
they also ask you if you're immunocompromised.
Right.
And all you have
As
to do
defined
is
as what?
Find a all you have to do is say yes.
Yeah, you can lie, which is all well and good. Most people think they're immunocompromised and they're not.
No.
And so, but again, if you want to follow the law, which by the way is something that some of us do still, okay, do you have an organ transplant? Do you have HIV or AIDS? Are you taking chemotherapy?
Okay.
Those are the immunocompromised patients.
Right.
If you don't fall into those groups there, okay, that
You'll need a letter.
You're going to need a letter.
But they say, as of today, I believe in Seminole County, they're allowing the third shot.
If you fall into those things, and you have
Okay.
to go there and pass the interview process by the pharmacist, which,
Right.
by the way, is not a painless proposition. What other medicines are you taking? Can you transfer your other scripts to my pharmacy? Okay, there's going to be a lot of that going on. Just wait. Yeah, we have them, but we're really reserving those for our customers. All right, so there's going to be some fun and games yet to be played.
Well, they're already talking that the 8-month deal is going to be, of course, the folks that got the first round
Are
out of
gonna
the
be-
gate,
are gonna be
which will
getting it
the
in
elderly
September.
folks.
Yeah.
It'll be the first responders. The problem is that you've got a drop off that's happening right now.
Look at what's going on in the hospitals. You do not need to be a genius to figure this out.
Right.
Why are we seeing a major resurgence of it right now? And we're
Because
gonna-
we've already dropped off and we are now under vaccinated.
key concept, and we're going to get to that after these most important announcements by
also-
our honorable benefactors. These-
Support Stages of Life. That's what
That's
he's
it.
saying. We got a whole bunch of questions to answer as well about the vaccines and stuff. So
Our
stay
honorable-
right there.
sponsor.
Places, everyone! It's showtime!
Ladies and gentlemen, just a minute. We would like for you to relax, and with your kind indulgence and attention, we'll do a little show for you.
Man, it's out of sight.
Hey, look at that. Welcome back to Stages of Life show, sponsored by, just kidding,
There you go.
Connection show. Sponsored by Stages of Life Medical Institute. Dr. David Klein is with us as well. Linda Nunez does all that fun stuff you just heard there, including what we like to call it's imaging or branding, but you just call it, that's a bit, that's funny. I like that. Those are funny. They make me giggle. So that's what Linda does. That's one of her contributions to the show. Now, before we took that quick break, Linda, were you paying attention about what happened?
She's
here?
never paying attention.
No, she really was.
Oh,
I
oh,
think.
really? Oh, I thought she
No,
was kind of
no,
snoring.
because she has elderly folks in the family and compromised people as
Very-
well.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
And now she told us pre-show that she went and got what apparently was a BS test to tell her that that she was now less $55.
Yeah.
but
You gotta love it.
It did tell her, give her peace of mind that she was negative in order to go places.
What it
but
did is it permitted her to go to a function where it really didn't make any sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Cancun. Part of the deal there was that they would have to test you so you could come back into the country. So what did they do? They had a technician there with one of these antigen meters, which is what you had done, and they swab your nose, and 12 minutes later they tell you that you're negative. All right.
That's exactly what they did.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was your
And
test,
and then
yeah.
you're short $55 to $60, or somebody is, and everybody's happy except for the people that you might be getting sick. So what is so special about the Sophia machine that it's 12 minutes, it must be good? Because once you start actually understanding, or if you want to do some real research on this, go look up the Sophia machine and find out what the lower limit of detection is for this machine. It's 3,200 particles per ml, which means you're infectious. You're affected, right? So you can be negative on that machine and still be quite dangerous.
Oh, goodness.
This happened to me. I got sick with COVID in January, so I tracked it. I had the best opportunity to test the validity and the value of these machines, and those are two different things.
Gabe is his own patient.
Yeah. So I'd go in the office. They would gown up to treat me, and I would get a PCR every week. I would get the antigen test every week, and an antibody test. All right. Why? So I could track how these things operated relative to each other, and the PCR that I took was positive on the second evening of the second day after I was infected. Okay, so 18 hours after I ingested the COVID virus, I was positive with the PCR. If you read what the CDC has to say about it, they say it takes several days. It only takes several days if you have a lousy machine to test for it.
Or a bad system.
If you have a good system, you can pick it up a whole lot earlier. So you become infectious the next day or the day after that, not 5 days down the line. Not when you start spiking a fever. It's
Right.
well before that. And interestingly, you're going to go COVID negative on the antigen meter. That's the rapid test. 3 to 4 days before you're negative on your PCR. And we've seen this over and over and over again. And that's how Trump got his people sick and probably lost his office over it. Because he said, well, we're negative because we have our Sophia machine here. This is, we brought this out.
Well,
this was where,
mistakes were made,
blowing
right, Linda?
hard
That's right.
didn't work so well for him. And so, and I'll tell you, okay, it's really very interesting. So I went negative after 2.5 weeks, about right as far as the CDC is concerned. But my lovely wife, okay, who also is sick along with me, didn't go negative for another 2.5 weeks. Wow. So she was sick and infectious for the better part of 6 weeks. Now imagine this for just a second. Okay, so you've got a coworker I was quarantined for 2 weeks but didn't get tested, which is a CDC recommendation. You just do 2 weeks and don't come back. That will make a lot of people ill. Now, what we're seeing now is the results of stupid recommendations, that being one of them. Why in the world, if you have somebody who's ill, you want to make sure that they're not infectious, why wouldn't you test them? The recommendation is inane. Okay? Inane. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. It's because they don't know what they're doing. We're being led by cretins. So it's very much, okay, medically, similar to what we saw in Afghanistan this past week. Okay. Now that, okay, I was a military guy for 12 years. Okay. I'm in the presence of some military folks right now. The long and short of it is there's something called a strategic withdrawal.
You mean a plan?
It's called an orderly withdrawal. Okay.
plan.
You leave the field. Something the British did.
itinerary.
Yeah. The British left, the Germans left, the Italians left, the French left, everybody else left in an orderly manner. Our folks, they got out, they dropped their stuff and left. They abandoned their equipment. Now, I'm a medical guy, right?
Yeah.
I was trained how to disable weaponry before it's abandoned.
Exactly.
Okay, so you got an M16. Here's how you remove the bolt.
Yep.
Here's how you remove the firing pin. Here's how you remove whatever.
Here's how you make it useless.
But what you do is if you've got a pile of these things, you remove all the same piece out of all of them so they can't be interchangeable.
Exactly.
Now, I'm a doctor. Okay, how do you disable a helicopter? The hand grenade? Might work, wouldn't it? Okay, they had plenty of those that you could use. A rocket. It wouldn't make any difference.
Please,
You
we
can
could have
use your
droned
M16 to knock out a helicopter on the ground. But what they did was they ran. Now, not our people. Our people are just too stupid to do that. They just kind of disappeared in the middle of the night and left people out there on their own.
Right.
These are our leaders. They did that to us medically too.
No
So
plan.
right now we have hospitals full of patients with COVID. Now, 65 to 70% have been unvaccinated. You know something? That's a matter of personal choice. It may be a dumb choice, but it's a personal choice nevertheless. But 30 to 40% have had vaccine. What does that tell you? It means that 6 months after you get the vaccine, 3 months, 4 months, you're going naked with regards to the antibodies and you become vulnerable again. So why in the hell wouldn't you go ahead and inoculate people at 90 to 100 days instead of waiting until you fill the hospitals up? There is no particular reason.
Well,
Now, the little background data. And this goes back to a year ago, November. We talked about coronavirus. I've been testing for coronavirus for 3 years before COVID-19 hit. Coronavirus is a common cold virus. Now, you can maintain antibodies, you can maintain immunity to the common cold virus for 90 days. Now, what's the difference between COVID-19 and garden variety coronavirus? One is more deadly than the rest.
One will kill you.
One will kill you or could kill you. But the upshot of it is your body handles the immunity the same. There's no structural difference other than the fact that one is more virulent. That's what the word is called. So what does this mean? It means that our leaders have let us down more than once.
You know, you said about the whole somewhere there wasn't anyone in particular, but here's the thing: if they knew that we were going to have to get shots every 6 to 8 weeks or whatever,
They know it.
But they couldn't sell it properly in the first place because it was Trump's vaccine.
You got it.
They politicized the whole thing, and initially, and still in my mind, I feel like there was somebody out there, Fauci, who said if in 2018 that the pandemic was on the way.
Well,
And when you
but here's
drop
the-
little bombs like
maybe.
that,
Okay, now I'm not a Fauci fan.
no,
Okay, but the CDC is in the business of saying the sky is falling.
right? I know.
Okay, that's what they're there
it's the
for.
end of the world. I get
The
you.
world is coming to an infectious disease end. So as long as I've been in practice, they've been preaching this. Whether
Little
it's
Chicken
been
Little stuff.
Ebola, whether it has been,
Legionnaires' disease. Remember that?
Oh, Legionnaires was a big one. But many of these things were supposed to take over the world, and they didn't. This one did.
Sucks.
You know, it kind of sucks. But this is, so they got one, but they blew it. They absolutely blew it. No, we don't need to go ahead and shut down the airports. That's a bad idea.
Well, I
Right?
mean, they went out of their way. First of all, both sides politicized it. You've got Pelosi in what is it, Chinatown over there in San Francisco, running around arm in arm, unmasked with all people from
the only-
just flown in from China.
The only sad thing is that she didn't get to experience the disease like I did.
Yeah.
Okay, that would have been poetic justice. However, it's just a sad day. So the folks growing up now have had the distinct honor of watching our troops run from a battlefield. Okay, that doesn't happen too often in our history, but it happened. It happened 2 days ago.
Yeah, I talked,
Humiliation?
I talked to some
Oh, you
friends,
think.
Gold Star friends, family. Yeah, just telling them, look,
I'm ticked off.
people
personally.
didn't die. I'm angry and I'm sad. It's a weird combination. And
Yeah.
it's really. It was.
It'll be another 30 years before we're going to be proud of our military again. As long as we have idiots in the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Secretary of Defense,
Yeah.
what a twerp.
They're
We're going to have problems.
They're not military.
Politicians, not even good politicians.
Right. We'll be right back.
I cannot believe this.
Listen to me, listen to me.
Do you know how serious this is?
I do this all the time.
Do you?
Honey, look at this.
Answer me right now.
Linda, I'm not arguing with you.
Why did you do it?
You're not listening to me.
Why did you do it?
I'm not arguing with you.
Good evening, radio fans. We are now back in the studio. Stand by for your station announcement.
Linda, listen.
I had to
Linda.
do it.
Linda,
honey.
why?
I need to pull
why
it now.
did you do it? Why? Why you got to pull it now? Because we use
Ruined
it as
my
a
life.
rejoin. Welcome back to Connections, Relationship Radio with a Twist. Dr. David Klein is with us, explaining once and for all what the heck is going on. Yes, they politicized the vaccine, the virus, everything. Got people on all kinds of weird sides. It's a hoax. It's not. I'm not getting the Trump virus, they said. Then it's all of a sudden it's a Biden virus. Facts tracked. We had Operation Warp Speed. Who takes credit? Who cares? I don't. Just get
the damn
healthy.
vaccine.
If you can
Oh.
build up your immune system, fine. You think you're strong enough to do it, knock yourself out.
Yeah, see how it works out for you. I mean,
Okay.
I've seen a lot of healthy people die from this.
Yeah, I
it's
have.
not
It's random.
a lot of fun.
But that's the thing. It's like a tornado. It's just kind of random. It's like
Yeah, you want to see how much fun it is to breathe through a tube? Go borrow
Not
one and
fun.
see how long you last with it.
Do you want to take any of these questions?
Sure, why not?
Right,
What do we got?
We got a bunch of them.
All I'm going to do is ramble on.
Probably. Let's see. Amy checked in the beginning of the show, said we're really on the fence about getting the shot. Just want to know, what do you think?
What do I think? I think that if you're on the fence, you need to get off the fence and get the vaccine. Not only have I gotten the 2 doses of Moderna, my wife got the 2-dose Pfizer, but we're both going back to get our 3rd dose. So yes, why? Because I'm tired of watching my friends get sick and some of them die.
Okay, Laura's been kind of our pessimist in residence today on the
Why not?
on the feed. No, I'm
Good.
glad.
We
I'm
need
glad.
to have at least one pessimist.
At least one, but sometimes we get
Somebody to compete with me
sometimes
right
they're
now.
in jerk mode. But Laura's been pretty cool. She says you're gonna have to get these every 6 to 12 months for the rest of your life.
Nope. You're going to need to get them every 3 to 6 months for the rest of the pandemic.
You're right.
So how long do these pandemics typically last? The answer is 2 to 3 years. So yes, you will. And why was that a good thing? Because it beats the heck out of having a heart attack, stroke, or developing encephalitis, or some of the other odd things that we're seeing people get. Right now, the Social Security Administration is getting ready for the next wave of disabled people with post-COVID issues.
But they're also hoping a lot of the elderly croak.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's going to pay for it.
Reality of it, but it is.
So yeah, you can be on the fence with regards to the vaccine, but there's no going back once you get the disease.
Okay, now,
so my
Alex-
wife, after 6 months, still can't taste food. What do you think? Do you think that might be a neurological damage issue? Huh? I'd say it's probably likely.
Alex is across the pond. Thanks for
Alex.
checking us in over there in the UK. He said in the UK, 16 to 18-year-olds have the Pfizer jab. In New Zealand, 1 COVID case, and they completely locked down.
Yeah. Well, the Aussies are kind of strange. We all know
Yeah,
that.
they've
It's,
been doing that.
It's in Canada. That's the Newfies. They all have these cousins that really kind of didn't quite make it through high school. Right. So yeah, it's okay. The country's nice. They have great beaches. The women are really hot.
Okay,
it all works.
Alex also wants to know, he says sometimes one of these jabs can give you a blood clot. Is that true?
Johnson & Johnson, there were 6 cases or something like that. It was really rather rare.
Minuscule.
But but when you look at how many women get the same problem, let's say with blood clots that take birth control pills, the number's enormous. Same issue. And yet people take the birth control pills, they smoke, and they take their chances. This one, it will kill you faster than the cigarettes will.
Okay, let's see. Skip is online here. He says, does zinc and D3 help keep the virus away?
Zinc and D3 are helpful for your immune system. So the stronger your immune system, the larger the inoculum. That's the amount of virus that's necessary to cause the disease. But zinc isn't the only mineral that you need. You also need magnesium, manganese. You need zinc, selenium, vanadium, chromium, boron. There are a bunch of things that you really need to do the job. Magic Minerals has it all. Vitamin D3 is not a vitamin, it's a hormone. 40% of the population is deficient in D3, and that also damages the immune system. So what you're doing is it doesn't keep the virus away. It feeds, nourishes, and allows your immune system to do its job. So yes, it's necessary, but not exactly the way you think it does.
Now, Amy was on the fence, as we know. She
Sure.
has written further saying, we're on the fence because I personally have had COVID twice. My husband has always tested negative.
Yeah. Yeah,
Again,
which
remember I talked
your
about the
immune system is different.
randomness?
Yeah, I mean, it's not random. There are different people that have stronger or weaker immune systems. If you've had
So a
COVID
strong
twice,
person can fight it off and not even come down with it?
absolutely, it's true of every disease.
Wow.
Okay,
cool.
how many people died during the Middle Ages of the Black Plague? A lot,
A
but
good
all
amount of them,
didn't.
yeah.
Not everyone, yeah.
Not everyone. It's not random.
somebody had
It
to
takes out the weak players. So. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it goes. And it's true of every infectious disease. My favorite one is actually shingles. When you have an impaired immune system, it's common to get shingles more than once. Okay?
Okay.
That's nasty
All right,
stuff.
here's another one. Let's see. Bonnie wants to know about mucus and.
Oh, it's disgusting.
yeah,
Sometimes,
it
it's kind of. Yeah, I have a hard time with mucus.
Yeah.
So, what's your question, Bonnie, about mucus?
Is there anything to help stop it?
Yeah, actually, you don't want to stop it. If you stop, it's when you get sick. Long been known in medicine that when you take cold medications, and in particular the decongestants, that your cold lasts longer. Not shorter, lasts longer. Congratulations. Your body is trying to get rid of the mucus, not keep it. It's kind of like pus. If you have an abscess, nobody does well by hoarding the pus. So what do? You take N-acetylcysteine or NAC with something called guaifenesin, commonly known as Mucinex. The combination together will clear the mucus. You cough it out, sneeze it out, blow it out, and you'll do better. That's how it's done.
Okay.
There you go.
What else you got there, Lady Jane? I'm gonna roll.
Skip says he takes zinc and D3 6000 I use.
It's not unreasonable.
And magnesium every day.
Well, the magnesium needs to be magnesium gluconate, glycinate, malate, or taurate. If it's the carbonate or oxide, it's garbage. It won't work. Vitamin D3 it's got to be D3, needs to be taken in an oil other than soybean oil. If it's in soybean oil, it's garbage.
Yeah, but take it along with fish oil, though, right?
Take it
To
with fish
activate
oil, borage oil, alpha lipoic acid, or olive oil. I prefer olive oil.
Magic Minerals are available on stagesoflifevitamins.com.
And it's inexpensive.
And it's very inexpensive. And you get it cheaply shipped. That could have gone really south.
It sounded like it was going to.
It was.
Yeah.
But
Say that quickly, not.
Cheaply
cheaply.
Shipped cheaply.
Yeah, we have shipped that stuff to every continent but Antarctica.
Are you in Antarctica? We could really hit the trifecta here.
Yeah, if anybody's in Antarctica, we'll ship it to you for nothing.
By the way, if you're watching the video and playing the drinking game, Linda left the room, which means it's an all drink. Raise your glass.
I love it.
Well, yes,
I rarely get to drink
Amy,
on
thank
air.
you. Amy says thank you so much. They will be getting the jab.
Please. It's one of these kinds of things where a good leader leads from the front. All right, so I went out and got mine. I insist that my patients do it. I've got a number of folks that don't. We just lost one of them 2 weeks ago. So, she's dead. The husband is in the intensive care
Somebody came at me
unit.
on that one when you mentioned that. They're like, well, why didn't Klein save her life? He's such a great guy. I think
No, it's because if
like,
somebody ends up in the intensive care unit
There's
on a
nothing you can
ventilator, it's not my
do.
patient any longer.
Yeah, by the time he found out, it was...
She was already dead.
It was already, don't pass
She
go.
she lasted 2 days. And her husband is still on the ventilator. So not my patient once they hit the hospital.
Okay, I put a link to stagesoflifevitamins.com in the video feed. Thank you so much for following along on the deal here. Hey, Doc, I have a coworker that tested positive. He waited 14 days and then tested positive again.
Yeah, right. There you go.
I think he took the second test after 14 days and is still positive. So am
Question.
I hearing you right that he could still transfer
Yes,
the
but
virus?
it depends what test
on
you
the
just
test.
took. Okay, now if he's taking what's called the lateral flow or finger stick, he's looking at IgG. He's going to be IgG positive for about 3 to 4 months. That doesn't make him infectious. So the test that he has to get is called the PCR. If he's PCR positive after 14 days, as my wife was, he's still infectious. If he got the IgG, as we had a lady in today, she came in and was getting sequential IgGs, and they were always positive. So when they're asking us, what the heck are you doing? So she said, well, I need a negative test so I can go back to work. I said, well, you're not going to get a negative test doing the lateral flow IgG.
Right.
Well, why didn't you tell me that? I said, because you came in and asked for that study and you got it. You didn't. This wasn't
You
a
weren't
doctor's office.
specific.
I'm here as a volunteer. So if you want to know whether you're infectious or not, you get the PCR. We do those at Stages of Life. You take it. If you're there before 11 o'clock in the morning, you'll have the result by 3 p.m. or sometime between 3 p.m. and 11 p.m. That's very, very fast. Fastest in the country right now.
Amy says they're actually patients of yours, and we trust you.
Well, that's your second problem.
Now,
You
stop
don't
it
trust
now.
me.
Now, Alex, again, across from the pond, in the pond over there in London town.
Okay.
He says, I've been diagnosed with hypoglycemia. Does the Pfizer jab affect it? Just been asked to take my second one, and after my first one, when I took it, it got me ill.
Yeah, well, if you get a little sick when you take it, that's actually a good thing. What I'm going to advise you to do is not take any aspirin, Advil, or Aleve. If you're going to take something, you take Tylenol. You'll know it as paracetamol. Okay, the UK, they call it something different. But that is not an antipyretic in the same way. Yes, it is a COX inhibitor. It's a COX-3 inhibitor, but it doesn't damage your body's ability to fight the vaccine. So please get it. Hypoglycemia is not an excuse.
No.
Now, just have a piece of cheese before you go and you'll feel fine.
Good advice.
Yeah, it
He
works.
likes cheese.
I love cheese. I'm a cheese addict.
Yeah, which means we got to
I
keep it
love
away from
cheese.
it.
Yeah, I know.
I grew up with one of those pepperidge farms.
Oh, man.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, he's right.
We'll be right back. Yeah. Even I've never tried the Limburger, though. I've smelled it.
Yeah, that's all it takes sometimes.
That really was.
You're listening to Connections.
I am a golden god!
I think this guy is the reason that I'm having more sex.
You know what? I'm tired. Could you just call yourself an idiot?
Yeah.
Oh, why can't I have a nickname?
I love
Before
it.
we go any further, I'd like to put my pants on.
No way. No god-dang way.
Connections is relationship radio.
Oh, come on now.
Everybody needs to have a nickname.
Everybody needs a nickname. All right, welcome back.
Mine was Fry Daddy.
I don't want to know.
At this point in the show,
Yeah.
that's
Hey.
Dr. Fry Daddy Klein.
Dr. Fry Daddy.
Fry Daddy.
They call me Fry Daddy.
Fair enough. We got Linda Nunez. I am Melissa Fox. This is Connections Show, Relationship Radio with a Twist. Now, we've been talking and answering an awful lot of questions, which is awesome. So thank you so much. By the way, before the break, we were talking about Thomas, who had his friend, and he had both of the different tests.
He had the IgG as well as the PCR?
Yeah. And
Good. All he needed was the PCR. Okay, so the IgG really wouldn't have told you very
if he's
much.
testing positive still, and he keeps
Then he
testing
stays
positive.
away because that means he is spilling virus. Now, what's interesting about the PCR, and I own two of those machines, technically 3, but really 2 that are good PCRs. One of them tests for one of the genes, which means you can be spilling the DNA or RNA in this case. Pardon me. You can be spilling the RNA and test positive, and yet it's just fractions of the virus. Whereas the Mac Daddy, not the Fry Daddy, but the Mac Daddy, which is the
not
Thermo
Pot
Fisher.
Daddy
Yeah, it's
either.
called the Thermo
That's-
Fisher 12K Fast. That one, it tests for all 3 genes. So, and if you're only positive for 2 of them, that's a negative study. So sometimes it really pays to get the better study and doesn't cost a nickel more.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh, how about
yeah. That's getting pretty technical, but sometimes you need to get a little technical.
just a little, and I think you're good with it.
I have a question. Is there, if I got Moderna first, do I have to get Moderna
No.
boosters?
No,
I
you
can
get whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah, except for the J&J. So the way I write my letters, okay, is I give all the background data as how to interpret the data, because just in case the pharmacist wants to learn something. And then I go on to say that it can be either one of the 2-stage vaccines. That means either Moderna or Pfizer. Really, it doesn't matter to me, but sometimes the pharmacies only have one of them. So if you can find a willing pharmacist, then you go ahead and get what you're going to get.
Right.
So
right.
it doesn't really make that much difference.
Now, word has it Johnson & Johnson's in the cheap seats going,
It's been in the cheap
We're
seats.
going to have it. We're going to get it. We're going to have a second shot for you. Don't worry. Don't worry. No-
Marvelous.
Yeah.
Okay, they shouldn't have had a first shot. The upshot of it is
no.
it's only effective 60-some% of the time, where the others are at 97.
And we discussed it before these shots even became available. The Johnson & Johnson was like the knockoff. It was like, yeah, if you're going to actually make a half-butt effort.
No, but I heard that if you had some pre-existing conditions.
No, it had nothing to do with
No.
that.
No.
There are no pre-existing conditions that make any difference whatsoever with this inoculation. None. This is not a
So
live...
there are no reasons
No.
not to get it.
This is not a live virus. This is not a dead virus. This is a single strand of mRNA. It cannot transmit the disease. So there is no particular reason other than fear for not getting this vaccine.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say, well, I have this and my doctor says I shouldn't have the vaccination because it might make me sicker.
People lie. That's the first thing. The second thing is if somebody came in to me and said, well, I don't want to do it because I have X, Y, and Z. I got a couple choices. Either I can waste my time discussing it or say, oh, just go ahead and do what you want to do. Fine. And that could be interpreted as an agreement. It's not.
Well,
Most doctors I know fought with each other to get the vaccine.
I've heard
Okay, do
that.
you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, they were fighting with each other to get it.
Well, even DeSantis, who some people we know call Death Santis, was in an argument not more than 6 months, or I'm sorry, a year ago, going, give us the vaccine here. We got old people.
Yeah.
Give us the vaccine, and it wasn't happening.
Right. So the upshot of it is we have been fighting to get this vaccine. All right. The doctors and nurses are climbing all over each other. Now, why are there still people in the hospital that haven't been vaccinated? You know, everybody has that odd uncle, and everybody has that odd cousin. The fact of the matter is there are people out there for religious or political or God knows what reasons that refuse to do it.
Well, they touched
and they
an
die. They
agenda.
do badly, and guess what? Oh, well. So in my office, there were 2 people that caught COVID out of 23 full-time employees.
Wow.
I got it. Okay, and my secretary, and neither one of us got it in the office, and we're treating patients with COVID all day long. You have COVID, come on over, let's get you going, let's get you treated.
Do you know where you got it?
I know exactly where I got it. I got it from a
the
turkey
Subway.
and cheese sandwich at Subway, okay? and whoever handled the sandwich didn't handle it properly. My wife and I split the sandwich. She got sick, I got sick, and boom, off we went to the races. The office was closed between Christmas and New Year's Day. So I didn't catch it at the office. I know exactly where I got it.
And they came here literally.
I tried to give it to you guys.
Hours after they had gotten their shots, their vaccine. They come in here, we're all inoculated, hugging on us.
And then I called them a little bit later because I didn't find out that I was a PCR positive until that night.
Right.
So it's like, I got bad news for you. You might want to clean the microphones.
I just thought I'd let you know.
You might want to clean the desks a little more carefully this time around. Okay, and nobody got sick. Okay, and both my wife and I we had a lot of the virus on board. Now, how do you know if you have a lot of the virus? You ever wonder about that?
Well, you have to have a test of some sort.
Well, you would think so. So one of the things we did at Stages, which is kind of cool, was with our PCR, I worked out a little bit of mathematics. And so if you know when the PCR goes positive in its cycle of positivity, so it takes the substance and multiplies it by 39 times. So what it does, it takes a little bit of something and turns it into a truckload. So if you have a small amount of things, trace amounts, you can actually have enough to measure later. That's how PCRs work. If you know where the machine turns off with the sample, called the cycle of positivity, you can work backwards if you know the lower limit of detection and determine what the viral load is.
Okay.
So with that piece of data, we were able to track how much virus was present in the sample at the time it was taken, and we were able to track how long it would take for people to get back to work. So if you were at cycle, let's say 15, we would know that it would take you 6 days to get back. If you were at cycle 17, it would take 2 days. If you're at cycle 21, it would be the next day or the day after. Very, very cool piece of data. That is how you do it.
Okay, here we go. A couple more questions before we hit the door. Sarah says, my friend's husband's doctor said he was forced to get the vax but regrets it. Well, my uncle's nephew's dogs flee.
And why does he regret it?
Yeah, why would he regret it?
And I
It's
mean,
foolish.
Because he's not in the hospital?
Why? Because he didn't die and he might have to get a booster?
Friends,
The guy's a
husbands,
sissy.
doctors, cashier at Publix. I
Yeah,
mean,
whatever.
the chain here gets a little convoluted.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. There
Who
are people
knows?
out there that, I ached all over when I got
Right,
it.
good. That means it's
Good,
working.
it worked. Next.
Sarah also wants to know if the J&J was a real vaccine, not gene therapy.
It was real.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a very traditional vaccine where you end up taking dead pieces of the virus and taking it in and developing the antibodies from that. It just wasn't as effective as the mRNA virus.
Good question.
So is it real? Yes. Is it as good as the other two? No. If that were the only inoculation that was available, I'd be all over it because better some protection than no protection.
One more. Let's see. Oh, actually, two. Do you have antibodies from COVID already? Do you still need the vaccine?
Yes, it depends on the amount. So if your level is below 2, the answer is yes, you want to get it because you're only a couple weeks away from going negative. If you're sitting like I am around 12, that's usually good for 2 to 3 months.
Amy, back again. She was on the fence. Husband was sick last week. Went to Walgreens and got take-home test. It said negative.
The take-home test is a joke.
Don't do it.
Now wondering because I'm sick.
Yeah, you think? Yeah, that's the problem with do-it-yourself stuff. You know, you can go to Home Depot and buy tile. It doesn't mean that you lay tile for a
I
living.
can't do grout to save
Yeah,
my life.
so Amy, come in the office. Let's test it properly. You and your husband both. We are not going to run away from you. Okay, you come in, we test you, and you'll know by that evening. That's how we do it. So come on over. We'll
really
take care
was.
of you.
Yes.
He won't hurt, and he doesn't bite.
Skip, thank you for giving more information, both pro and con, than the government has, giving him a lot to ponder for those who
thank
have
you,
not
Skip.
taken
Appreciate
the
that.
shot.
Skip, get the shot.
Well, that's what we've been
That's all
trying
it's
to do
about.
here.
Yeah.
The whole show is about keeping you on your
We
toes.
value you as people, human beings, and listeners in particular.
And all of you, especially the handful that are with us for the run and have been for the last 4 years, you've been here when Doc's been spouting this information. This is
Nothing new.
not blindsiding you. This is nothing.
And he's been
new.
right.
I hate when people say that.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. Say goodnight. Thanks for listening, guys.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Laughing time is over.